Hello, I'm Coach Eugene. Today we're going to be looking at 3100 main tank player. So before we get into this, actually we're going to go back a bit. Okay, before we get into this, we're only going to be looking at round 2. I'll explain why we're not looking at round 1 or 3 though. So basically, like speaking to you directly, you're playing Reinhardt, and this is the only point where you paired him with a Lucio or an actual Reinhardt comp. In the other 2 rounds, I can show you a few reasons why you shouldn't be playing Reinhardt, but you're essentially playing Reinhardt like he's an Orisa, which is a massive issue. Because if you were, even as Orisa, like, they're a bad position. I'll go into that later, but basically, you're picking the wrong hero is the biggest reason why you guys are losing this match. Never, ever, ever play Reinhardt with a Mercy. Just don't do it. I'm serious, just don't. I would have liked you to see. I would have liked to have seen you play Wrecking, like as a main tank, a Wrecking Ball or an Orisa, depending on what your off tank's going to play. But yeah, Reinhardt was not the right pick at all. You were essentially just a punching bag. You were playing a fast hero in a slow comp, and there is a reason why Reinhardt's a fast hero, because like he gets in and he deals, like he gets in. He gets in and he does stuff, you know, but he doesn't have enough resources in him to stay there, whereas Orisa is a hero that really likes setting up. She's like a gypsy. She just sets up, she lives, she moves on, sets up, she lives, moves on. And Wrecking Ball is extremely fast, but he doesn't need resources. Reinhardt is a hero that you need pocketed into, and losing support attention as the Mercy, like having a Mercy, especially in the first round, there was no reason to be playing Mercy, but you guys were still playing Mercy with Reinzai. It was absolutely horrific. Anyway, let's get into this. Alright, so you guys are holding the small room, and what you want to be doing here is baiting the enemies into the room so you can eat them. You have a McCree and a Junkrat, so your best interest is to be covering these doors with traps and playing into them. So right here, your position. I want you to notice how you're pretty much just... Yeah, so you've pretty much given them so much space. By being at the back of your team here, you've left your DPS and supports quite vulnerable, and you've just given up all this really important space. Just watch here as still at the back, and this is free space given to the enemy Reinhardt. So free space, he has no shield. Free space, there's no actual engagement. For some reason you seem to want to be fighting into them rather than having them fight into you, which is not a condition you want. Also, with the pin of the enemy Reinhardt there, if you were to have pinned yourself, you could have counter-pinned and saved your Lucio. Just a little tech that you should be employing. So here, once again, you have arguably a bigger advantage. Like, yeah, you arguably have the advantage here, but you're playing slowly as your Reinhardt. With your Junkrat, you really, like, you can see he's just given up on you. With your Junkrat, you need to be making space for him, and he's just bored and taking his own angles. Another thing I'd like to point out is, there's a good counter pin. Another thing I'd like to point out is, from when I was watching this from your first person perspective, you play Reinhardt like you're playing D.Va essentially. You're playing back with your flex support and chasing kills that your off tank should be chasing. I'd be interested in seeing how good you are at off tank, because from what I've seen, main tank doesn't seem to be your best suit. Okay, here, right here. This is positional suicide. They have a McCree, you have a McCree, but the way that their McCree is... Where is he? Okay. Is their McCree in spawn? Okay, that's actually pretty big then. Failing to identify those suicide there. Okay, so currently you guys can take the high ground, which theoretically their McCree should be dominating, but he's in spawn. But essentially standing in this long angle, I know the McCree's not there, but if to say that he was up there, standing in this angle is awful because you're giving the McCree free firing range. What you should be doing as a team right now is taking a staircase up to the high ground and getting rid of the enemies, because once again, you're giving them free positioning. Alright, so now their Reinhardt's dropped and you should be speeding into him. Just standing there. Go for a shadow. Shadow, which is quite nice. But yeah, you guys do lose this just because you've given them better positioning and they just slowly turn around. They fought that 5v6 and beat you guys. It's just really pointless fight. Alright. Wow, okay. So, let's look back at this. Alright, so here, as a team, your McCree's hit the Moira, so your best interest is... Okay, yeah, cooldowns were forced out. So... You should be, yeah. So this fight, you should definitely be able to see that their Reinhardt isn't there and just charging in before he can get a flank shatter on you. But you guys get grabbed, so that's fine. Yeah, Hanzo pops off, kind of lucky, but this pin onto the Reinhardt isn't something I would go for because you've just ditched your team to a free shatter. Yeah, no. It is so blatantly obvious that he has shatter to the point where he's flanking you guys to get a flank shatter, so pinning is never the right play there. You should just be holding your shield up and fighting him. Something I would like to add though from watching your perspective is you did have quite nice fire strike accuracy. Okay, so at this point they have swapped from a Reinhardt as a main tank to a Sigma as a main tank. The advantage that this gives you as a team is insane, especially with the, I'm assuming this is on the current patch, with the current Sigma nerfs. You can just absolutely demolish him with your speed boost. But, like, what I don't like to see is that you're holding point like it's a little box, like you can't go anywhere else. You could and should be holding these chokes, making them use ults to get in, or holding high ground, because currently you're giving up so much positional advantage, they can kind of just push you from wherever they want without a problem.
This will heal you. Nothing's gonna stop.
Like right here. They just walked up. They've now used both their bubbles. You can push up and kill the Sigma very easily. Instead, you're walking backwards. There's no immediate threat to you.
It's time to die.
Alright, the loss of that fight wasn't entirely your fault. There was some definitely uncontested DPS. I kind of want to watch how this happened. Alright, so McCree flanking. Your DPS are even further back than you are. Yeah, so this is more of a team issue than you, this fight loss. But the lack of, like, I don't know, holding good positions is definitely quite brutal. It's a nice fire strike.
This will restore you.
Alright, standing here with your shield up though is pretty bad. You want all the shield health you can get. Alright, so here the speed is way too early, but you make good use of it. This is what I want to be seeing. I'm not sure how your bubble rotations works, but your Xayah should have been blocking that flashbang definitely. And here this Reaper is your Xayah's probably. Alright, so that was a pretty nice fight. You made use of the speed boost and kind of just took position as an alpha Ched. You abused the fact that they don't actually have a main tank. Alright, so something that, this is more of like, if you guys, it's like an advanced level play, I guess. If you really felt like you guys could have rushed and killed this Reinhardt right here, because he's disconnected from his team. Just like a small thing, but it's not a must. Alright, so the team's gone Pharah, which is compositional suicide. They think, oh, Pharah beats Brawl. Yes, but not with Brawl, so you guys have got a massive advantage here. You're fighting a 5v6. 6v5, sorry. So, hold on, let's watch this dragon. So who does it split? No one, that's a really bad dragon. Okay. Yeah, I guess you guys could have rushed Zaya, but you can also rush them now that it's 4v6. Not much rushing happens. This position here that you're taking, as Reinhardt, don't hide from Gravs. You're like the captain of the ship, you need to get... Yeah, the best thing you could have done there is gone in to just hopped into the Grav. It's an extra shield, it's more livability for your team. Alright. That shadow there is way too late. Just straight desperation. Not a play to go for. There's no way in hell you win this. Okay, wow. Very interesting, you actually win. Alright. So that was alright. I think I pointed out the issues that you need to be looking at though. As a team, you guys aren't, like, you guys are playing way too slow for Brawly style. Anyway, this is, we're not going to look into this map too much. We'll just look at, we'll just talk about your compositions and have it playing in the background. Okay. So here's a team, you guys employ a pretty similar comp to what you did on round 8, where you're playing Ryan Zaya with this BAP Mercy comp. This is straight awful. If you look at your team, you're a punching bag. Like, as a group, you guys are a punching bag. The Wrecking Ball does whatever the hell he wants, and there's nothing that, as a team, you can do about it. Like, I know Pharah's supposed to be good on this point. Yeah, I guess she kind of is. Does this look slow-mo to you? Just looks slow-mo. It is, but it says one. What? Okay. Guess we have to watch this in 1.5 times. God, what was I saying? Pharah is good on this point, yes, but she's not good with these heroes. It's not something you want to be running. So on this point especially, Wrecking Ball and Orisa are quite good. If you were to play Orisa, you could hold this high ground with a McCree, get quite a good hold onto the enemy team. Because the enemy team is failing to control high ground, especially. Something I want to point out. So, no one cares about this high ground, but it really is massive. You don't have a McCree, but if you were to play like Orisa, Sigma, McCree, you guys could hold this high ground, be next to indestructible. Their Pharah would have these amazing chokes to get the enemy team at while they're trying to push you. Like, it would be quite nice. And then, if that wasn't working out, you could play something with a Wrecking Ball Diva, Wrecking Ball Zaya. And you could still play with a Pharah and have success. But yeah, playing this Reinhardt here, like, these angles that you're playing are absolute crap. You guys just straight lost this round because of the way you guys are playing. You're playing in the ground, you shouldn't be in this position, but as a team, you guys are, like, look at the position of you and your Zaya. You are just completely vulnerable to whatever they throw at you. At no point do you actually have any control. Like, you may somehow have 50%, but as far as control of team fights, there's not much of it. Anyway, I think it's fine to call it there. If you want to send me VODs in the future, less of this sort of comp and more of what happened in the middle, because there's just nothing you can get out of this sort of stuff.